Class. I'm a short recording here to give you a little bit of a walkthrough of how to handle this camera trap data. Have shared with you a folder that has photos in it, photos from your camera trap. If you had a camera trap that gave us lots and lots of photos, I divided it up and gave them to individuals who had camera traps that had much less photos. And we had quite a range. I think we had it ranged from maybe roughly 50 pictures, I believe, at the least, and up to 3,500 pictures. So I allocated them, and everyone should have roughly between 600 and 750 photos to analyze. And so let's take a look at what this process looks like. I'll share with you an individual folder that has your name as the title. You're not going to see everyone's folder like you can see here in my Google Drive, but you'll have access to yours. So I'm going to use Lori Jane's here as an example. So inside the folder, we can see that there are two folders that have titled with the specific camera. And so this is Lori Jane's camera that gave us 3,500 photos. And so Lori Jane has just a portion of it, of about 700 or so photos. And in addition to the photos in your folder, so you should see 1 up to 3 different folders with a different camera ID. You will also see this Google sheet called Camera Trap Log. And opening that, we have this right here, very simple spreadsheet with a date, DOI, date of year, which I've already filled in with a formula that you can see here that will give us the day of year. January 1st is day 1 of the year, all the way through. So you can see here, if I put in an arbitrary date, 20th of September 2022, it should automatically update. Indeed, it's the 263rd day of the year. This is going to be important when we analyze the data. We also have time. I've got a few different, 3 different columns here for time. If your camera gives a 24-hour time, so it doesn't use AM or PM, and so if it's 6 in the evening, it's going to say that it's 18 o'clock. This is the field that you use for the 24-hour time. If you have a camera that's showing AM or PM, then you want to put your time here and then indicate whether it's AM or PM. And then species, sex, if you can, if that's possible. It's going to be possible for deer, but perhaps not much of anything else that we'll see on the cameras. The number of individuals, and any other notes that you think might be important. So let's take a look here, and we'll do the first example here. I'm going to take a look here in camera 575.1. So this is the beginning of camera 575's shots. And Google Drive kind of does it a little goofy, where it does it in descending. Descending. So if I want to take a look at the first shot that the camera made, you want to go up to name here and just reverse it. Push it once, as you can see here. And so this is photo 1. And if we were to take a look at these are these should be the pictures that your camera took when you were doing the testing. So you should see a picture of yourself. So everyone has at least the beginning of their camera's photo shot. So you should see you on the first picture that was taken, or within the handful of pictures that was taken, which is the case here for Lori Jane. But we're not going to look at those. We're going to look at a more interesting case. This is actually right at the end of Lori Jane's. We can see here we're at photo 499. Now, these cameras take a burst of shots of 3. So you don't have to record every picture. You need to record every unique date and time if there's an animal in it. There's going to be lots of photos where you just cycle through and there's nothing. There's no need to record this information. Right? There may be times where you're just quickly scrolling through. There's no animal, no animal, no animal, no animal. And then when you come across something like this, which we clearly have, we can see the eye glow. We have something here. So let's take a look at these photos. Oh, I'm going the wrong way. There's a little squirrel there probably running. And so I'm going to picture 499. I'm going to go to the next sequence, 500. And so we certainly have felines here, 3. It seems that maybe one is bigger than the other 2. So maybe we have a parent with 2 kittens. Getting a closer look now. And so really the only felines that you'll come across on these camera traps are going to be either domestic or bobcat. And we can see already here, you take a look at the little cat that's has its front paws on the log, and you can see the spots. Right, so spotted a spotted coloration in the coat is not very typical for domestic cats. And these cats look kind of big, especially this one here on the right seems kind of long-legged, which is a classic characteristic of bobcats. They have long legs. And it looks like we might have perhaps a female here with 2 fairly older kittens. And another hint here for, another hint that helps us establish these as bobcats instead of domestic is taking a look at this young bobcat that's in the middle, that's perched on the little log here. You can see its left ear. You can see a very distinct light patch surrounded by a dark on the periphery of the ear. And so this is a classic bobcat coat coloration. They have these white spots in the middle of their ears, and it's thought to sort of resemble eye spots. So pretty cool. We have bobcats, and we have 3 of them. And so I'm going to go to the spreadsheet here, and let's see, what was the date? 9/23, and we're at 23:56. Right, so I'm just going to change this as the 23rd of September, and the time was 23:56. I don't need to do 12-hour time or AM PM, and so I'm just going to put the common name is fine, bobcat. Sex, I'm going to put NA for not applicable, because we have 3, and plus, even if it was 1 bobcat, I wouldn't be able to tell based on these photos if it's a male or female. And so I'm going to put 3, and under notes, I'm going to say female with 2 cubs, or I should say juveniles. Yeah. Juveniles? Well, I certainly am not getting the spelling right, but I'll figure that out. I won't take off for spelling mistakes. So that was the first one there, and so you see I've only got 1 row here, despite the fact that there's 5 or 6 photos here of our bobcats. Right? We have 6. Right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So the camera trap here got them twice because it does a 3-shot burst, and it did that twice in a row as they were approaching the camera. So a pretty cool find here. I don't expect to find many bobcats. This is really, really cool to see, especially with 3 of them together. These are probably a female with 2 younger juveniles. I expect you to run into lots of empty frames with nothing. I expect you to see mostly deer at night, sort of early dawn and late dusk, and then squirrels. mostly during the day, right? So happy hunting. We'll combine all of our results, and we'll see what cool creatures we have. And I'll also post sort of a guide, or perhaps a link to a guide for the common animals that you'll see. But you're most likely going to see our white-tailed deer, gray squirrel, a possum, and perhaps a bobcat. You may run into some domesticated dogs, and maybe some Homo sapiens as well. So feel free to give me an email if you have any questions.